I had to get an Italian beef in Chicago. I guess I'm in Gary, Indiana, actually. It was either that or a Chicago hot dog or a pizza. I think those are the three things I had to choose from. Did I enjoy that Italian beef? Was that a shining example of Italian beef? I don't know. I just chose a random restaurant and thought this is what the locals are getting their Italian beef at. I don't know that I enjoyed it, but I do know that it will probably hurt my stomach later. I don't know. Was that good? I felt like it needed some it felt like a Philly cheesesteak that that was missing all the good parts of a Philly cheesesteak. So hopefully when we get to Philadelphia, we'll get ourselves a Philly cheesesteak. I didn't spend much time in Chicago. The wind was going to be offshore, so I took out Google Maps and I just looked along the coastline looking for like a point break or a harbor or just any good beach. And then I found this little spot up here, St. Joseph Beach, and it looked pretty good. I didn't know what I was going to find when I got there. Well, to my surprise, there was quite a few kiters there when I showed up. There was even a guy, I think his name was Tyler, who does lessons out there. I rigged up, and yeah, you can see the jetty. There's some waves on the other side. It was mostly flat water on the side I was at. And it was kind of funny, when you walk along the sand, it makes like a squeaking noise. Tyler said it's the quartz in the sand. But yeah, I got on the water. Right when you get out at the end of the jetty, there's a little lighthouse, which is kind of cool to wing by. And the wave kind of sets up right there a little bit. But it wasn't quite windy enough to really make a lot of waves there. And then there's like a kind of a muddy water, and then you cross over into this clear water. And then once you did that, there was some pretty good open lake wind swell. And you can see me ride here. I was on the 125, and it wasn't that windy, so I probably should have been on the 210 at first, and then I got on it later, but by then the wind had died anymore. It was only blowing like 13 to 17, but the swell gets really nicely lined up, and there's no cross chop or anything. It's really good. Man, if it had been blowing 20 to 30, it would have been epic. I can tell you right now. Swell is quite good for how not windy it is. The problem is there's not enough wind to keep the wing flying, so the wingtip just keeps falling down. Kind of sucks. 5 or 10 more miles an hour, it would be epic out here. Man, I just had a pretty unpleasant experience at the border. I've been tired, it's been hot, I've been sleeping in my car, I've been ready to get a room, so I figured I'd drive over from Detroit after hanging out with my friend Kevin and his family, which had an awesome night. It was a really good night. I made sure to do all the stuff I needed to do before going to Canada. I got some Canadian money. I did some other stuff that I had to do. And then I was like, well, I'll just drive over at night. And I had some comps for free rooms at Caesars. So I was going to get a room at Caesar Windsor, which I'm at right now. Lovely place, lovely people. But I was just really ready to just chill out for a couple of nights, hang out in a hotel room, eat some good food, just kind of chill. So I get to the border, and they're asking me the questions. And they're like, do you have any weapons? Do you have any guns, or do you have any knives? And I'm like, shoot. I left my flip knife in the rear passenger door because, when I'm out camping in the boondocks, it's good to have something with you. And also, it's a utility knife. I just use it for all kinds of stuff.
So I'm like, oh, guys, I think I have a camping knife in the back, and they're like, oh, well, it's not a switchblade or anything. I'm like, no, it's just like a camping folding knife. If you want, we can just toss it right now. I think it's like a $10 knife. And then they're like, oh, no, no problem. And then he like closes the thing, and he's like, just pull right over there. And I'm like, oh, jeez. And I pull over into like their little section, and out comes like 7 people putting their gloves on, and they're like, step out of the car, leave your stuff in the car. You can take your ID. I start to pick up my wallet, and they're like, no, leave that in the car, just the ID. I'm like, oh my God, what the heck, And then they just start rifling through my car, and they're like, get against, good against the wall, go within the car, and they're just being dicks, like just being absolute dicks, and just rifling through all my stuff. And they start pulling out my wing bags. And I'm like, yep, wing, wing, wing. And I'm just getting irritated because I'm just like, there's no communication. There's no like courtesy. I just forgot that I'd left a camping knife, in my car. And I told you guys. And it was just like just the interaction was just so hostile and just unnecessary. And it just reminded me of the whole thing in LA with ICE. That just really, really annoyed me. And here I am, like a white guy, and I know I got nothing in there other than the knife, right? Other than what I told them about. I know there's nothing in there. I've been living in the car for a while. It's kind of gross and stuff, and they're just like rifling through all my stuff, and just making a mess of it. And it's just like, when did we get to this point in like the world? There's just no decency. Just going to visit the neighboring country and spend money. I've got 1,400 Canadian in my wallet ready to spend. It's just like, when do we just become such dicks about everything? The way we're treating immigrants in the US right now, it's just shocking behavior. The US runs on immigrant labor. Our country wouldn't function very well without it. They put in so much money into the system, and they don't get it back. Here I am, knowing I did nothing wrong, and I'm thinking, am I going to end up in jail tonight for bringing a knife into Canada? Am I going to end up getting sent back to the US with like, I don't even know, fine or whatever? Like, it just, man, imagine how these illegal immigrants feel. They know they're doing something wrong, but they're trying to be good people in the US. They're trying to be productive members of society, and they are. And then what about like the ones who are not even illegal immigrants, just people who look like illegal immigrants in the US getting detained? And it's just like, man, what is going on in the world? You got to have border policies and stuff, but you got to also just be a decent person. I mean, what I went through was very small. It's just an inconvenience. I just, worst case scenario, I guess that, maybe I ended up in like a holding cell for a little bit, or they send me back to the US and I don't get to do my trip through Canada, like boo hoo. And here's the kicker. After all is said and done, they make me go inside. They're like, oh, you're going to have to answer some questions. Like, if you want to just go back to the United States, we can arrange that. Like, just being dicks, And at the end of it all, they leave the knife in there. Wasn't even an issue for them. They had no problem with the knife. I guess it wasn't a illegal knife. I was just looking forward to crossing the border, fairly quickly, and then having a nice night at the hotel. And I don't know, I'm going to get some sleep, chill out tomorrow morning, and then hopefully have a nice night. People at Caesars were lovely, though. Got myself a really nice room. Maybe I'll give you guys a little room tour here. I don't know if there's like really a view. I don't think you can see Detroit. I think I might be on the wrong side for that, but still, we're up high, so we have a decent view, and got a nice king bed, nice TV, just a little area. Oh, I'm in my boxers. Sorry, guys. It's kind of buggy, actually, but yeah, nice little bathroom. Pretty cool. The bathtub looked pretty clean, so I just decided to take a bath and maybe chill out, mellow out a little bit, diffuse my anger. A view of Detroit from Canada. Very nice. I didn't want to pay $36 for parking at Niagara Falls, so once again, we took advantage of the casino's free parking. It's actually $15, but they have a view of the falls, and we're going to go walk down there. Pretty awesome.
I stopped for lunch at Queen Victoria Place, a little restaurant overlooking the falls. I got a Caesar salad with a side salmon. It was pretty good. And a non-alcoholic cider. Nice little date by myself overlooking Niagara Falls. Made it to a spot that my friend Ron, wing friend Ron, said they go out up here. It's supposed to storm around 2. It's like 12 o'clock now. And then it's supposed to get quite windy afterward. It's very onshore. The wind just coming in this way, sort of. Right now there's not really any swell. It's probably windy enough to go out, but just barely. So I think I'll wait to see if the storm happens and then go out. I don't know if this is the right spot to go out. It looks okay. I was informed by Ron that they give out tickets at that beach, so moved over to the... Hopefully the wind will come up. It's supposed to get really good swell if the wind comes up. Ran into a couple other guys, but so far we're waiting. Oh yeah, something is a brewing. Something is a brewing now. Mike and Great Lakes Foiler got out before me on some small para wings, and they were kind of struggling at first. So I rigged up a big wing and a big foil, which ended up being a mistake because it picked up pretty shortly after that. This is the run I shared on Instagram. You can just kind of see again some nice carves. The swell is actually better than it looks. It's very groomed, long period, really quite good. Had I been on the 125, I could have really ripped some turns. That's sort of what I like doing. You know, I don't really care about just downwinding forever. I want to rip some hard turns and, you know, do some cool stuff. And you can see I'm pretty stoked here when I throw the shaka. Yeah, but speaking of ripping turns, you know, on that 210, oh no, first I do a little foil slide. Yeah, just a little small one. But yeah, I tried to rip some turns on that 210, and you can see keeping that foil in the water, comes up out of the water. This one, I managed to save that one, but you can't really feel the intensity. There's a lot of G-force on that turn with that foil. A lot of pressure coming up. And then this one, I rip a little bit too hard. I get a little too high, and I can't keep it in the water. Yeah, no way with that big foil. But yeah, I'll leave you with one more run where you can just kind of see how long you could go if you really wanted to. This is not the glidiest foil in the world, remember that. And I would say these are waist to shoulder high bumps at least. They were quite big. something made for downwinding. You could have really glided for a long time on those bumps. Coming in was a bit of a challenge going barefoot. Now the shore break had picked up, the rocky bottom. It's kind of unpleasant. Banged up my feet, but didn't cut them up, so that was good. That was great. That was pretty much the Great Lakes session I had thought was going to happen, you know, at some point on this trip, and it was awesome. The swell got pretty big. You know, it was fairly windy, maybe like 20 to 30. Swell got pretty big. Very long period for wind swell, so you could really ride it for a long time. I was a little overpowered and a little overfoiled because I saw the other guys going out there on their para wings and they were having trouble getting up. And sure enough, of course, as soon as I get out there, it picks up a little bit. But it was great. I had a lot of power on the wave, so that was fantastic. I wish I had rigged my 4.2 Cabrina Vision, not just because of the size, but it's just so much, it's so well behaved. So that would have been really nice, but I still tried to rip a few turns. Yeah. But I think that's Great Lakes Foiler out there, doing the para wing, riding some stuff. I say that, now I might change my mind. That might be Mike. And then up there might be Great Lakes Foiler on the para wing as well. I think that's who it is. Man, coming in through this, coming in through these small shore break with these rocks, oh my gosh. I came in further down there where there was more rocks in the water and my feet just got banged up. Not cut up, but banged up. Yeah, see, look at that. You can see quite a bit of shore break here. They say they prone up there, which is wild to me. It was completely flat earlier, you know. Just totally wind waves. There's, I think, Great Lakes Foiler trying to get back on foil. I gotta get a new phone this year. It's something with a zoom lens on it, because it's ridiculous doing this YouTube channel with an iPhone 8 still. This phone's like 10 years old. I don't even know. It's so bad. But, you know, I don't have a great job like all you guys, so can't be buying all this fancy gear. I'm pretty stoked on that session. I think I'm going to pack up and then I might try and wing near Montreal tomorrow. Doesn't look great, the forecast. Just kidding. Totally windy when I got there. And once you get into that French Canada region, all the wind sports enthusiasts come out. I think this was like Friday morning, Friday afternoon. I don't think it was even a weekend. And look at all these people out there on the water. Tons of people. I might as well get out there. That was a lot of fun. A little bit of swell, not too much. Maybe if it was windier, it would be pretty good. But really pleasant. Big wing community, which makes sense because, you know, French love wind sports. And I was going to head over to Maine tonight, but the professor, who you might remember from the downwinding video, spent some time in Montreal, is a big fan of the city, and he wants me to do some activities. I got to get some poutine. I got a little story about that. He wants me to walk up the mountain, Mount Royal or something, and then get fresh bagels at some place. And then Ave Saint Denis is like good cafes. I don't know. Maybe we'll stay here an extra day. We'll see. We'll see. So this is the bagel place. Apparently, you can get the bagel straight out of a wood oven or something at some of the locations, but I'm not going to drive around looking for one of those locations. I don't know if this is one of them. Okay, so the cafe closed at 3, but we were able to get a fresh bagel out of the oven, so that was pretty cool. We got sesame, and then I bought some cream cheese. Let me go find a knife in my car, and we'll try this out. The bagel is actually still warm. I've never had a warm bagel before, straight out of the oven. That's pretty cool. Pretty good. All in my mustache. What the hell am I supposed to do with the rest of this cream cheese?
Of course, because the lighting doesn't work. The room is too bright and the lighting on the tower is not bright enough. You can only stop it.
The professor told me to hike up Mount Royal or whatever this is called. Didn't really have to do any hiking. I just parked in pretty nice view of the city. He also wants me to go to some drum circles. That's not going to happen, Alex. Sorry. You know, Montreal, a really nice city. It's honestly, Canada has been kind of a bust, in my opinion. Like, I guess maybe just starting with that border crossing. But Montreal is pretty cool. Like, I might as well be in France. Like, everyone's just speaking French, and shopkeepers are like telling me a price in French, and I'm just like, take my money. I have no idea what you're saying. I just nod. Well, I raced here. There's still 7 minutes. 7 minutes to close. And they wouldn't give me a poutine. 7 minutes and they wouldn't do it. Dang. So I couldn't get my poutine at that place recommended by the professor, so I still needed to use the restroom, and there's one place with really nice bathrooms, and it's, you guessed it, the casino. There was a chance we were going to get some free food. Unfortunately, we do get $10 of free food, but it doesn't activate till midnight. So I didn't feel like waiting until midnight to eat. So my poutine story. When I was a young kite surfer, 18 years old, living in Corpus Christi, Jeff Howard had a friend come down from Canada, and she was helping around his shop with his kites and stuff, and not really sure. She was just down there hanging out. And she was a little older than me. We hit it off, and we had a pretty awesome spring. I don't know. It must have been spring or something. We were pretty into it, pretty together. And I won the amateur U.S. Open kiteboarding. She won the women's competition. Then she had to go back to Canada because of her visa. And she went back to Canada, and she didn't message me the whole time. I guess it was like email, phone. It was probably phone calls back then. I don't even know. But yeah, she kind of just went MIA the whole summer or whatever. And I think she came back like 6 months later, a year later. I'm not sure. And she acted like everything was just normal. And I was pretty crushed there because, we hit it off pretty well. And then she went no contact. Yeah, and she came back and kind of seemed like she wanted to pick things right back up. And I was just like, what? She appears to be married to some sort of multimillionaire or billionaire now. So, yeah, she made the right choice. Yeah, I don't know if she still kites or whatever. When she came down, one of the first nights that we hung out, she made poutine for Jeff Howard and I at Jeff's house. But she didn't have, like, the right ingredients, so it didn't really turn out very good. But it was a nice gesture. So anyway, let's try official poutine. I've never had it for real with the cheese curds and whatnot.
Definitely tastes like fries with gravy and cheese curds on top. It's pretty good. Gotta be terrible for you. No redeeming value. Yeah, oh, went down the wrong pipe. If you still wing, and you know who you are, what was up with that? Why did you go dark on me? Could have been a power wing couple. You know, I shouldn't get down on her culinary skills. You know, mostly because she wasn't able to find the right ingredients. At the time, I was eating a lot of bologna and ketchup sandwiches. I think that was what I'd have for lunch every day. Just like a slice of bologna and ketchup. For dinner, it was either a turkey burger on toast, like on regular bread, or spaghetti. I think that was pretty much all I ate. Maybe some breakfast burritos in the morning. Those are pretty good. Carne guisada burritos as well. But yeah, it was pretty much what I lived on when I was 18. Living by myself for the first time. I decided to stay in Canada one more day and come up to Quebec because it looked like I might be able to get some wind up here. The question is going to be where to launch. I can't get anyone on to me on the Facebook group, and it looks like some of the launches are kind of weird. It's kind of like shallow, marshy shoreline. It's a French province. If there's any wind, I expect I'll see some sort of wind sports enthusiast out somewhere. So just drive along the river until I see someone. I found this like RV park that's right on the water that is close to the kiters. I can see the kiters out there. Everything's in French. I don't even know how to pay for parking. I did it, guys. I figured it out. I saw the word kite surf on the map next to some parking lot behind some industrial building. There's some bunch of kiters out here. There's one thing you can count on the French, man. They're gonna be out winging and kiting. I rigged small because I was like, well, I'm just gonna cruise around on the big foil. And of course the wind died by the time I rigged. Alright, I guess we'll rig the 7 for the first time of the trip. I thought it was gonna come up. It's probably gonna come up right after I rig the 7. We'll be like Clinton and just ride at 8 meter and 30 knots. Plenty of wind out here. Could be on my 4.2 out here. Just had to go slog for a while to get to the wind line. It's great out here. Alright, we're foiling Quebec. Mission accomplished. 7's really not even that unmanageable. Doing all kinds of little twisty turns and whatnot. A lot more people out now. This one dude on the kite foil was just killing it. He was riding the foil backward, something we haven't seen on the wing yet, but it might be possible, especially with those new monofoils. I did a whole video on Instagram that came out really good, so just go check out Wingman Foil Club on Instagram, watch those Quebec riders ripping. This place really reminds me of Sherman Island because it's got the ebb and the flood, and you can get some really good swell. Apparently even a lot bigger than Sherman Island. Let's do a little gliding, pumping and gliding. Alright, I think we got a pretty good one here. Be able to glide a little bit more than pump. Just gotta find that next bump to connect to. Get in there. Keep that speed up. Let's go. Gliding with the 7 meter dragging me. Oh, here's a little tricky section. I think we're screwed. That was great. One came up pretty good. Now a couple of guys are like, oh, you gotta go to New Brunswick. It's only another 8 hours. And then you gotta take the ferry over to Magellan Islands or something. I don't know what it's called. It's only 6 more hours. When does it end? When I get to the Arctic? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to stay in Canada. Definitely this part of Canada has been a lot better than the first half, so I don't know. We'll see. I quite like this Tim Hortons. Back in the US, I would say they were nicer than the Canadians for sure, especially the dude who asked me the secondary questions. But yeah, very suspicious of me again. Oh, you're on a sabbatical? When does that end? Must be nice. We're gonna have you pull around for a secondary check. Like, they don't like a dirtbag YouTuber on sabbatical from work answer. They do not like that at all. It's kind of unpleasant because it's like, it makes you not want to go across the border, really. Even coming back into your own country, it's like they think you're a drug dealer or something. And I don't have anything to hide. And I'm anxious. I'm like, what if they find something? What if I get in trouble? It's like, I'm not doing anything wrong, you know. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm a fair weather winger. I'm happy to go check out New Brunswick and drive 8 hours, maybe even take the ferry to those little islands for some wind. But I'm not gonna do it if there's rain in the forecast or if it looks cold. It's just, that's not worth it to me. And then look at going to Acadia National Park tomorrow. Probably not gonna wing there. I don't think there's any wind, but hopefully it'll just be nice to check out. I don't really know what you do there. Just drive around. Yeah, that's the other thing on these trips. Like, you know, I'm by myself. If I was with like the love of my life, yeah, maybe we go to New Brunswick and hang out and get a little room at the inn and have some dinners and go watch the sunset. But by myself, like, I got like ADHD. You know, I walk around a museum for 30 minutes. I'm done. I go see like a nice view. 5 minutes, like I'm good. I don't need any more of that. I'm not like gonna go hang out in the park in Montreal and hang out with the drum circle like the professor suggested. That's not gonna happen realistically. But anyway, I guess that's the end of this video.